Alrighty, so with the new level 90 stuff coming out, obviously there is a lot of characters to choose from, and I kind of wanted to go over some of my top picks, or who I think you should maybe invest into first, because obviously, you know, level 90 is kind of a big deal. You want to have your biggest and most useful characters up front first. So I'm going to split this into kind of like two different sections, I guess. We'll do PvE stuff and then PvP stuff. I would assume if you are a PvP player, you're more interested in PvP characters. So I think we'll start with that first. The biggest thing that you need to know is that obviously on JP and Korea, they are doing their 2-year anniversary, and they have just released Purgatory Bond, who is an absolute powerhouse. Like, he is beyond broken. And he literally can just destroy any character in the game, basically. So if you are a PvP player, I do recommend that you probably just save all of your Belmos cores and stuff like that for the core team of Purgatory Bond for when he comes out. I don't know if that means you should probably just save and then wait until he comes out and see what the meta team is for him at the time of release, or if you could just go ahead and start investing into characters you think might be good. I think the top meta team at the moment for Purgatory Bond is obviously Bond, the new Excalibur Arthur, which we should be getting in about 2 weeks time, and then after that I think people are running the one Escanor up front, and then Twigo of all people in the back line, which is very interesting. So obviously, that's kind of a weird lineup. I know a lot of people might not be super interested in investing in Twigo personally, but I mean, if that's really what it takes to become like top meta, or if that's like the best team that you can use for him, that might be what you end up needing to invest into. So I would say definitely wait a little bit. Don't invest into Twigo or anything like that just yet. I would just save your Belmos cores if you're a PvP player, and kind of wait and see if his core team sort of changes or anything like that, so that way you can actually get the best use out of your cores. So yeah, it does take 70 cores per character to get them from level 80 to level 90, because obviously you have to use, like, I think it's 35 or so to get to level 40, or to get to level 85, and then the rest of them to get to level 90. So yeah, I would definitely recommend just saving for the moment, because it from what it looks like so far, Bond is going to be the absolute best unit for PvP at the moment. So I would definitely just recommend saving. That's honestly the only advice I can give, because they really haven't found like a good solid counter for him yet. So if you're not interested in Bond or anything like that, I don't really know what you should invest into for PvP at the moment. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. So that's pretty much it for the PvP portion. We'll move to PvE characters. Honestly, the only character that you can see that I have gone to level 90 so far is Sariel. Other than that, I'm literally just kind of saving my my Belmos cores at the moment. I do want to kind of go for Lost Vein next, but at the same time, I think I'm going to save for when Purgatory Bond does come out, so that way I can at least do some content on him, I guess. So yeah, honestly, Sariel is really good just because he's a really great farmer. He's good in a lot of different situations for events and stuff like that. He's, I guess, for a plus, he is really good at the final boss at the moment, so that's kind of nice. I have messed with him a little bit in final boss since I've got him to level 90, and he seems to be doing a lot better. I have beat my my old top score with him, so that is pretty nice. Anybody who's really just like good overall as a unit is great, so the one Escanor would obviously be a good bet. Assault mode melee is interesting. Like, he can be okay in certain events and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily know if I would recommend going for him for like PvE scenarios. Obviously, either one of the Gothers would be a pretty decent pick, because they're basically used on every team, unless you're just using like a very niche team for a niche event. So that is also an option. Estarossa is also very good, but I'm kind of holding off on Estarossa at the moment, because I don't know how well Chandler is going to do to kind of replace him, because I know that Chandler's counter is pretty good. Obviously, he doesn't have debuff immunity like Estarossa does, but I kind of want to test Chandler out in a lot of the situations that Estarossa is good in before I want to invest, because if obviously there's a better unit that's going to kind of replace him, I don't want to invest in the old unit, obviously. So yeah, that is always very interesting. Another thing to note is that farming Belmoss cores kind of so far it requires like a pretty specific team for a lot of players. Like a lot of players are using Jericho or Escanor or even Estarossa, which is definitely something to consider. I made a video not like a couple of days ago about the level 90 raid and everything like that, and how I'm personally going about doing it and everything with the two teams set up of having a support team and a damage team. I am currently running support team with mine, but if you're running damage team or something like that, Zaratros is very good for the raid and may be worth investing into, but obviously he's kind of a niche unit. And he's, I mean, so far he's really only good for that raid, and he's okay in like final bosses and stuff like that. As long as the enemy has a really high crit resistance, then he's really helpful in it. But, you know, you're not going to be able to use him like 100% of the time. Obviously, this raid is a big thing that you're going to be farming a lot. So depending on who you are using as your main damage dealer for the raid, whether it be Jericho, Escanor, Estarossa, whoever it is, that would probably be a pretty decently safe bet to go ahead and upgrade. Other than that, I mean, it's really just depending on who you want to use or who you use the most in the game. The PvP meta, obviously, like I said, is going to be changing up a lot in the next couple of months, I assume. So I think it's kind of an interesting time. You may want to end up just saving a lot of your resources and materials and stuff like that. But if you're doing a lot of PvE stuff, just go for whoever you think you need the most. So obviously I like to use a farming team with Sariel and Lostvayne, so Lostvayne would be a really good bet for me. A lot of my teams use Green Gother, so Green Gother would obviously be another really nice character to go ahead and power up. Goddess Liz can be very good in certain situations, obviously. It really just depends. It's completely up to you and your own preferences, so you just kind of have to take a look at like who your top teams are and everything like that. So I have like an AoE farm team. I was messing around with 11 on here just to see. Normally I have a Lostvayne here, but yeah, so that would be why I would want to go for Lostvayne. There's my event team or whatever for just various situations. That's literally the same thing, but this is the one that I've been using for final boss just to kind of speed farm. So then again, it would also be helpful for me to get my Lostvayne up. I think this is my guild boss team at the moment, so if I was trying to go for even more damage on guild boss for specifically Akumu, Lostvayne is the big guy for that. So all of the signs for me personally are pointing towards Lostvayne being my next level 90, but I'm going to save at the moment just to kind of see what is coming out and who I need to save for, so just be wary of what's coming up in the future. So although I really like the Assault Mode Meliodas team, I don't really see him being very meta in PvP very much longer. So yeah, I'm probably going to hold off on investing in him as much as I like the character. I would love to keep using him. It just doesn't really seem the best option. So you kind of have to look at that. Unless you just have a lot of fun with him and you're okay with maybe going against the meta, then I mean, by all means, if you're having fun with it, it's obviously a video game, so have fun with it. Merlin is really helpful in certain situations, like if you're doing demons or anything like that. Some of the demon teams are like your powerhouses for demons are going to help you finish demons a lot faster. So obviously Escanor is really good for Hell Demon, so I would go, or Red Demon, so I would go for him on that team. Merlin would be really great on the Gray Demon team for me. Derriere would be another one that's really great on the Hallex team. I'm kind of hoping that they end up coming out with a new red unit. I don't think Bon is really going to cut it as much as Derriere is. Like I think his damage is really good, but I think Derriere just has a decent bit of longevity, and because she's a single target attacker, it helps a lot more with the boss. But I don't know, there's not really been a whole lot of testing with that yet, but I do want there to be a new red unit who can kind of like destroy Hallex Demon, because not that I don't like Derriere, I do really like Derriere, but she's been in the Hallex team for a long time at this point. And then this is my support team for Belmoth at the moment, so I don't really want to upgrade Zenari or Liz, but if I can go for Gother, that would be really nice, which literally my whole team setup is built around kind of like pushing all the cards up and everything like that, and healing and stuff like that, so that way the other player can deal all the damage. So if you want to see that, I already have the video on that on the channel, so you can feel free to look at that. But that is pretty much it. Honestly, I know that it's not like clear cut, like, hey, this is the character you should go for, but it really just depends on your own situation and what characters you use the most. So that is pretty much it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more content in the future, and I will see you guys in the next video.